Part 2. Alright, so let's get to it. Resident Evil Damnation. My thoughts when I first saw the preview of Leon, you know, killing these lickers and then turning around and then some guy going, okay. And I assumed it would be better than Degeneration. I was correct. I feel the CG movies are a little more true to the game universe. So I think it's kind of cool, you know, because it's CG and it looks like a video game, except you can just put it down without quick time events or killing anybody. But you can't control it, so, you know, that kind of sucks. Resident Evil Damnation takes place in, I believe, Russia, 2011, and BOWs are now being used in war. So war toys, basically, are the coolest things now in 2011. And I got to preview it because I work at a video store, and we got it a week ahead. And I was surprised because, you know, thank God we got a Resident Evil movie that, you know, not everybody carries. I was like, oh yeah. So I checked it out. It reminded me of Resident Evil 4, and that's just because, you know, Leon goes in there alone, you know, screwed from the beginning, and he goes into a church, and, you know, to me, I was like, oh, you know, of course he's in a church again like in Resident Evil 4. I hope nothing bad happens. And it does. And Ada's in there, and it seems like she had the same kind of a fight scene that she did in Resident Evil 4 and Retribution. That scene, you know, where she just comes in and catches the gun. So that was cool. So the recurring characters, Leon and Red, which you see for like 10 seconds, and Ada are, you know, oldies but goodies. They're not really old, but, you know, the characters we know. New people that you get to know for about 30 minutes, the two main characters, JD and Alexander. I think his name is Alexander, the main Russian that everybody thought was Ark Thompson, which we found out it's not. And I wasn't necessarily disappointed, I was just kind of upset, you know. Survivor is canon. Is the gameplay good? Not really, you know, but was it a good story? It was pretty cool, you know. You got to explore that there is in fact another island. I mean, the guy looked just like Ark. And, you know, they showed comparing pictures, you know. And even as he's saying his name's Alexander, I was like, okay. But his name really was Alexander. So, and, by the way, spoilers. So, you know, don't watch if you want to be spoiled. But, you know, I got the detail. Anyway, back to it. So Leon's just running around, you know, having a good old time. He's got to find a CIA contact, Scarecrow, which I think says one word in the entire movie, and it's, you know, toy truck or whatever. And he dies from a liquor. And in the movie, liquors look like they're from Resident Evil 5, but they remind me from Resident Evil 2. Now think back a long time ago. Resident Evil 2. Much bigger than Resident Evil 1. And Resident Evil 1 was, you know, at the time, you know, you could not beat that. You could not beat that to save a small infant's life. But Resident Evil 2 came out and said, hey, guess what? Kapadoom! Knocked it out of the park. With, like, 4 different scenarios. You know, 5 if you count Hunk, but, you know, so 2 of the canon. But just think back. That scene when you're walking down the hallway at the precinct, and you look up and you see that liquor. Now, a lot of people were on easy mode. Or something. And you had plenty of guns. But think when you were on hard mode. You just had a handgun. You know how difficult it was to kill those things? I would just rather run. And then, later on, you know, the advanced liquors that had like the razor claws. But those were scary, you know. Hard mode was hard, I think, honestly, because of the liquor. Because, you know, you could have a bunch in the room, and they climb everywhere. They can lunge, they can jump, you know, and kill you like that. So when they showed up, I'm thinking, you know, maybe it's just going to be like Resident Evil 5, you know, when the big liquors come out and you have like a hand cannon, but Leon's got a machine gun. So I'm like, that's not that bad. Dead. No, these liquors not be in control. So maybe I'm thinking that might be why. But it reminded me of Resident Evil 2 because of how scary it felt to not only me see it, but no, Leon's going through it. I mean, he chased this liquor down, and he finally kills it. No, yeah, I think he does kill it. Because the scene kind of happens pretty quick, and he gets knocked unconscious from a car bomb. And then one of the characters shows up with the liquor next to it, and he's controlling it. I'm thinking, interesting, this is going to be good. And he wakes up, and there's the other Russian, JD, and he loves America products. You know, he's like, oh, rock and roll, man. You know, America, we love your vest, we love your food. I eat your food forever. And I was like, alright, we got a good Russian instead of Nikolai. You know, this feels good. You know, the last Russian was like, my name is Nikolai and I kill you. Like, oh, I support you. But this one I was like, hey, Soviet Russia, thank you. And then the other guy, Alexander, I think his name, comes in, and there's a big shootout, and then we discover that these aren't just zombies, they're plagued zombie. So, you know, they've got the little, you know, so that was fun to see in a movie, and the animation is wonderful. The characters with the animation, I believe it was motion capture, so it made it look a lot believable. And Leon, I don't think he has a leather, I don't think it's leather because you really can't tell, but he has a cool little jacket and like very light pants. Like, I'm like, oh, shops at Hollister now, okay. Right on. So that was fun to see that Leon looked a lot realistic and believable. Ada, you know, of course she's, you know, doing her thing. So skip around. They're attacking the female president of Russia, and apparently she's been storing these little parasite things, and apparently that's where Ada came in. You know, she's like, oh, I gotta steal one. You know, hey, I'm gonna totally use you, Leon. Leon's like, hey, I'm okay with that. Which I don't. You know, that's not cool, man. Come on, Leon. You know, you're better than this. Anyway, she throws some Mr. X's at him. And if you don't remember Mr. X, he made Claire's campaign living hell. Like, it was honestly the scariest thing. But Resident Evil 3 hasn't come out, so, you know, I didn't know nothing. So whenever Mr. X came out, you're playing, oh my god. That's the same kind of feeling I had in the movie. And I wasn't even in it. I was like, You remember how hard it was the first time, Leon? You know, but, you know, the other guy's like, hey, don't worry, I've got liquors. He tears these liquors apart, and I felt bad for these things, and they're monsters. They've killed people, but I'm like, they're good guys. But, you know, they had quick deaths, except one, he died. And there's a bunch of Mr. X's. So whenever one explodes, you know, yay, it's a good day, and then it comes out and it's all mutated form. You're like, Remember how, yeah, but, and it's a good ending. Watch, you know, keep watching, after the credits start, because if you don't, then you're gonna think this is the most depressing movie ever. It's not. The ending is wonderful, and it very much goes into Resident Evil 6. I think, because Leon looks just like he does in Resident Evil 6 a little bit. I definitely recommend this movie, Resident Evil Damnation. I give it an A+. So, comes out September 25th, which is Tuesday. Comes out Tuesday. Yeah. So, go see it if you're a fan. Check it out. If you're not a fan, check it out because it's a good movie. If you like CGI, if you like animation, it pays off. Not for, I mean, it's, you know, obviously, you know, it's rated R, but, you know, what kid hasn't seen an R-rated movie? But, you know, it's not a child's movie. You know, it's not like, oh, it's animated, it's a kid's movie. No, you know, there's blood, there's violence, you know, Leon swears, so. Everybody, have a good day. Watch Resident Evil Damnation. Carry on.